There is a version of you that is so magnificent, so terrifyingly competent and powerful that you would be utterly stunned to meet them. That person is a dragon, and they are hoarding all the gold you have ever dreamt of. Most people flee from this encounter their entire lives, terrified of what it would cost to become that person. And 99% fail to understand the final critical step in that journey, how you must voluntarily descend into the abyss to claim that future. Do not dare to skip the end. Your dragon. Within the oldest strata of human consciousness lies a singular, recurring story: the hero, the treasure, and the dragon that guards it. This is not a quaint fairy tale for children, it is a psychological map of reality. The treasure is a metaphor for the life you could be living. It is a life of genuine meaning, unwavering integrity, and the profound competence that allows you to act as a force for good in the world. It's the whisper of your conscience when you've taken the easy way out, the ghost of a future self that haunts you with its potential. This treasure is not an illusion. It represents a real, attainable state of being. But the dragon, the fearsome beast guarding this ultimate prize, is equally real. What is this dragon? It is not an external monster. It is the composite beast of your own unfaced realities. It is an amalgamation of every truth you've refused to speak, every responsibility you've shrugged off, every bitter resentment you've allowed to fester in your heart, and every justifiable fear of the unknown that you have permitted to paralyze you. The dragon is the chaotic sum of your unlived life, and it has built its nest atop the very gold you seek. It is a terrifying creature, powerful and ancient. It whispers to you in the voice of your own worst insecurities. You are a fraud, it says. You are not worthy. Look at your past failures. Who are you to aim so high? The world is a cruel place, rigged from the start. It is far safer here, in this small, familiar space you know. It beckons you toward the comfort of the predictable, even if that predictable reality is a form of misery. In the squalor of your current compromises, little is demanded of you. You can curse your fate, bemoan your circumstances, and find a perverse camaraderie with others who have also refused the call to adventure. But there is no gold there. There is no growth, no adventure, no noble purpose to be found in that barren land. There is only the slow, inexorable decay of the human spirit. The fundamental calling of your soul, the great journey of a lifetime, is to consciously turn away from the ramshackle hut of your present self and walk directly toward the mountainous form of that dragon, to confront it. It is, without question, the most terrifying thing a person can possibly conceptualize. Yet, in a place deeper than words, that everything you truly desire lies on the other side of that confrontation. You must face the dragon of your own creation, or you will eventually be devoured by it. Not in a fell swoop, but piece by piece, as the chaos of your unlived life swallows what little order you have managed to build. The choice is stark and absolute. Confront the chaos voluntarily and extract the gold, or ignore it and be consumed by it completely. There is no third option. No comfortable neutrality in the story of your life. The path to your own redemption leads directly through the dragon's lair. Necessary burden. We have been sold a seductive and profoundly corrosive lie that the goal of life is to be happy. In our modern tongue, this has been translated to mean the pursuit of fleeting pleasure and, more importantly, the militant avoidance of all difficulty. We treat suffering not as an inevitable part of the human condition, but as an unforgivable error in the system, a sign that something has gone horribly wrong. This is a bankrupt philosophy. It is a spiritual poison that produces weak, fragile, and resentful individuals, unprepared for the genuine challenges of existence. A life of meaning is not discovered in the soft meadows of comfort and ease. It is forged in the fire of voluntary undertaking. It is found in the acceptance of a necessary burden. I want you to look at your life right now with unblinking honesty. Look at the chaos that surrounds you. Where are things not as they should be? What fundamental responsibility have you been avoiding because it is heavy, because it fills you with dread, because it is difficult? What task lies before you that you know with absolute certainty is yours and yours alone to do? That is it. That is your treasure, disguised as a burden. You must pick it up. You must find the heaviest, most meaningful load you can conceptualize that is within your capacity to lift, and you must begin to carry it. The simple act of shouldering that responsibility voluntarily is the first great step toward transforming yourself. You do not build a formidable character by seeking to subtract all difficulty from your life. You build it by adding, piece by piece, stone upon heavy stone, the weight of meaningful obligation. A human being is not made strong in a vacuum, they are made strong by resistance. Each truth you force yourself to tell when a lie would be easier, each promise you keep to yourself when no one else is watching, each difficult but necessary task you see through to completion, that is another stone being laid in the foundation of your cathedral of character. It is in the struggle against a meaningful weight that we discover our own strength. Nihilism, cynicism, and despair are the default settings of a life without a burden. They are easy paths requiring nothing of you. But the heroic path, the only path that leads to the gold, is the path of maximal responsibility. Your soul does not crave an easy life. That is a siren song of the lower parts of your nature. Your soul, the deepest part of your being, craves the grand adventure of a weighty and worthwhile purpose. When you choose to lift your burden, when you accept it as your own and decide to carry it with integrity, a strange alchemy occurs. It ceases to be a curse that was thrust upon you by a malevolent fate. It becomes the very armature of your being, the internal structure that allows you to stand upright and face the storms of life with your head held high. Articulate speech. So you stand there at the precipice. Before you lies the fog of your chaotic life, and in the center of it, the silhouette of your dragon. The sheer scale of it is overwhelming. It is a formless, multi-headed terror. The chaos feels infinite. The dragon appears unbeatable. Paralyzed by the enormity of it all, how do you even begin? You begin with the single most powerful tool ever wielded by mankind, the tool that lifted us from the muck of animal instinct and built civilizations. You begin with articulate, truthful speech, the logos. You must force the dragon to take a form. You must map the coordinates of your own personal hell. And the way you do that is deceptively simple. Take a pen, take a piece of paper, and begin to write. Ask yourself, what exactly is wrong? And do not permit yourself the cowardly answer, everything. That is a lie. That is the voice of the chaos itself, seeking to keep you overwhelmed and impotent. You must be precise. You must be ruthless in your honesty, down to the smallest, most shameful detail. Do you procrastinate? On what, specifically? For how many hours a day? Are you deceiving someone you claim to love? Write down the specific lie. Do not soften it. Are you filled with resentment? Towards whom and for what specific transgression? Articulate the argument of the resentful part of your mind in its full, venomous detail. As long as your problems remain vague, unspoken anxieties, they have the power of an infinite phantom. They are the monster hiding in the dark, whose size and shape are limited only by your imagination. But the moment you drag that monster into the light of conscious articulation, it shrinks. It becomes a finite thing. The monster under the bed is terrifying. The lizard in a box is manageable. Articulation is the process of putting the monster in the box. You find that what felt like an all-encompassing despair is in fact a set of specific, describable problems. A problem that has a name, a description, and boundaries is a problem that can be contended with. It's a problem that an intelligent, courageous person can begin to strategize against. This act of truthful speech is an act of creation. Out of the formless chaos of your fear, you create ordered reality. The same principle must be applied to your ambition. Do not simply say, I want to be happy, or I want to be successful. That means nothing. It's a hollow wish, a prayer to an empty sky. What is the highest good you are capable of conceiving? Articulate it. Aim for something transcendent. I want a life where I tell the truth. I want to become so competent in my craft that I am a genuine asset to my community. I want to create a family that is a fortress against the storms of the world. Be specific. You are creating a star in the heavens, a point of light to navigate by. Without it, you are doomed to wander in circles in the dark forest. Truthful, articulate speech is both your sword against the dragon and your map to the treasure. Smallest step. The vision is now in place. You have, through tremendous effort, articulated your highest aim. You have carefully described the features of the dragon you must confront. And now you are faced with a new, equally daunting problem: the distance. The gulf between the person you are now, standing amidst your mess, and the person you have envisioned becoming seems astronomical. The sheer weight of that articulated ambition can be so crushing that it produces a new kind of paralysis, the paralysis of the ideal. The temptation to give up, believing the goal to be unattainable, is immense. So, what is the antidote to this overwhelm? It is an act of radical humility. You forget, for a moment, the cathedral you are trying to build. You forget the dragon and the vast pile of gold. You look down from the distant star you've placed in the sky and focus your attention on the ground directly at your feet. And you ask yourself a question that is brutally pragmatic. What is one small thing right now that I could do to bring a little more order to this chaos, that I am actually willing to do? Not that you should do, not that someone else thinks you ought to do, that you, in your current, flawed, and perhaps weakened state, are genuinely willing to undertake. Maybe the answer is to take the fast food wrappers off the floor of your car. Maybe it is to finally reply to an important email you've been avoiding for a week. Maybe it is, famously, to make your bed. People who do not understand this principle mock it. How can tidying my room prepare me to face the existential abyss of human existence? They ask cynically. They are missing the point so profoundly that it's staggering. The point is not the objective importance of the act itself. The point is the meta message you are broadcasting to your own nervous system. You are demonstrating to yourself that you are the sort of person who is capable of confronting a small patch of chaos and imposing order upon it. You are proving, through action, that you are not merely a victim of your circumstances. You are an agent of order, however limited your current sphere of influence may be. That one small, completed act of self-respect generates a spark. It is a tiny, flickering flame of genuine, earned competence. It's not a fake affirmation you tell yourself in the mirror. It is the feedback from reality that you, in fact, can make a positive difference. That minuscule victory, that honest and humble accomplishment, gives you just enough light and courage to face the next, slightly larger patch of chaos. Tomorrow, you might clean the whole room. The day after, you might finally organize your disastrous finances. You build momentum. You start a virtuous cycle. You do not slay the dragon in one fell swoop with a magical sword. You slay the dragon by demonstrating again and again that you are the master of your own immediate environment, one tiny, courageous, and deliberate step at a time. Clean conscience. There is an internal fortress from which you can withstand the harsh winds of fortune and the malevolence of the world. That fortress is a clean conscience, and there is nothing that will make you weaker, more cowardly, and more susceptible to bitterness and ideological possession than the quiet, corrosive guilt of self-betrayal. Every single time you know what you should do and you fail to do it, you drive a small wedge into your own soul. You cast a vote for the weaker version of yourself. You teach yourself that your words and resolutions are meaningless. This is a subtle but devastating process. You know you should get up on time, but you hit the snooze button. You know you should tell the truth to your partner, but you tell a convenient lie. You know you should exercise, but you find an excuse. Each of these is a tiny betrayal. On their own, they seem insignificant, but they accumulate. They build, layer by layer, a deep-seated belief that you cannot be trusted, not even by yourself. How can you possibly stand up to a tyrant at work or in the state if you cannot even stand up to the petty tyrant within you that whispers for you to take the easy path? The man who acts against his own conscience becomes fragmented. He is at war with himself. A part of him aims for the good, but another part continuously sabotages that aim. He becomes filled with self-contempt, and that self-contempt is then inevitably projected outwards, twisted into resentment for the success of others and a cynical view of the world. A man who does not respect himself cannot truly respect anyone else. He sees his own deceitfulness and weakness reflected in the faces of everyone he meets. His mind becomes a dark and bitter place. So how do you clean a sullied conscience? The process is simple in its description and excruciatingly difficult in its practice. You stop doing the things you know to be wrong. You start here and now. You resolve to stop the knowing betrayals of your own articulated principles. When your conscience tells you that's a lie, you do not say the lie. When it tells you you must do this difficult thing, you do it. You begin to align your actions with your highest stated values. You suture the fragments of your psyche back together with the thread of integrity. The goal is to be able to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, without self-deception, I did not betray myself today. I acted in accordance with what I believe to be right. This is not about perfection. You will fail. You will stumble. It is about the direction of your effort. A clean conscience is the bedrock of courage. It is the solid ground upon which you can stand and face the terrifying uncertainty of the future, because you know that, at the very least, you are not fighting the battle alone. You have yourself, whole and undivided, as your staunchest ally. Voluntary dissent. Here lies the culminating principle, the secret that separates the hero from the common man. It is not enough to articulate a high aim. It is not enough to take small, orderly steps. There will inevitably come a point on your journey where the path forward leads not upward into the light, but downward into the dark. It will require you to move, as a conscious choice, directly toward the thing that you are most afraid of. This is the voluntary descent into the abyss. It is the journey to the underworld. It is entering the belly of the beast. Every great mythological tradition has a story of this nature. Why? Because it represents the most profound psychological truth about growth and transformation. It is not in the sunlit world of what you already know and have mastered where you will find the final keys to your potential. The most valuable, potent, and transformative parts of yourself are the parts that you have repressed and feared. The treasure is always hidden in the deepest, darkest, most terrifying place you can imagine. Your greatest potential for growth is not to be found in your comfort zone. It is nestled right in the heart of the conversation you have been terrified to have with your father. It is hidden in the decision to leave the soul-crushing but secure job for the uncertainty of your true calling. It is buried deep within the traumatic memory you have spent your entire life actively suppressing. The path forward demands that you turn and face these things, not because fate forces you to, but because you choose to, as a means of rescue and integration. This is the nature of a meaningful sacrifice. You must willingly sacrifice the person you are now, your comfortable, predictable, but ultimately inadequate present self, for the person you could become. This is not a pointless embrace of suffering. This is the strategic use of difficulty for the purpose of forging character. When hardship is inflicted upon you by a cruel twist of fate, it can break you. It can make you bitter, resentful, and brittle. But when you choose your suffering, when you say, "This abyss is necessary for my ascension, and I will enter it with my eyes open," you become transformed. When you voluntarily confront the darkness within you, you find that it is not as monstrous as you imagined. You discover that the dragon you feared was guarding a profound strength you never knew you possessed. By grappling with it, you integrate that strength into your own being. The voluntary descent is the ultimate act of alchemy. It is the process that turns the worthless lead of your anxiety and tragic flaws into the shining gold of an unshakable character. It is the final non-negotiable price for becoming the hero of your own story. Highest aim. In all this talk of dragons, burdens, and descents into the abyss, it is possible to lose sight of the why. Why embark on such a perilous journey? The answer is not simply for the gold, if that gold is conceived of as mere material wealth or social status. A goal like that is not robust enough to sustain you through the fires of genuine tribulation. The aim must be higher. The treasure must be something that shines brightly enough to justify the suffering that life inevitably entails. You must conceive of and orient yourself toward the highest good you are capable of imagining. This is not a static endpoint. It is a direction. It is a guiding star. What would your life look like if you were to act in the noblest manner you could conceptualize in every situation? What would your family look like? Your community? The world? You must dare to formulate a vision of a transcendent good, and you must make the manifestation of that vision your ultimate aim. Aim for nothing less than the highest good. There is a profound danger in aiming too low. If you aim for something petty and achievable, and you achieve it, what then? You find yourself king of a trivial hill, and the rest of life stretches out before you as a flat, meaningless expanse. This is a recipe for a bitter and cynical midlife crisis. It is far, far better to aim for the revitalization of the paradise of your ancestors, even if you fail, than it is to aim for a trivial prize and succeed. The nobility is found in the grandeur of the aim, not in the attainment of it. The very act of orienting yourself toward a transcendent ideal fundamentally restructures your perception of the world. Suddenly, your small daily actions are no longer isolated events. They are either steps that move you closer to your highest aim or steps that move you further away. This imbues your life with a profound and weighty significance. Making your bed is no longer just a chore. It is an act of ordering your soul in preparation for ordering the world. Telling the truth is no longer a matter of social convenience. It is a fundamental alignment with the structure of reality. This highest aim acts as the ultimate organizing principle for your psyche. It allows you to sort your own thoughts and impulses. When faced with a choice, you can ask yourself, does this action serve my highest purpose? If it does, you proceed. If it does not, you refrain. It provides you with a bulwark against the tempting whispers of immediate gratification and cynical despair. It is the central pillar around which you can build the cathedral of your character, a structure strong enough to withstand the inevitable tragedies of human existence. The journey we have been discussing, the confrontation with the dragon, the shouldering of the burden, the descent into the underworld, it is all meaningless without this. It is the aim that redeems the suffering. It is the North Star that allows you to navigate through the darkest of nights, to hold a steady course through the chaos of the storm, and to believe, despite all evidence to the contrary, that your struggle is not in vain, but is a noble and necessary part of the great adventure of being. What you are capable of is so much more than you have allowed yourself to believe. The world is starved for heroes. It is starved for individuals who have dared to confront the darkness within and emerge with the gold of true character. That potential, that magnificent and terrifying dragon of a self, is not a gift. It is a prize that must be won. It waits for you, patiently, for you to decide that the adventure is finally worth the risk. I am genuinely asking, what is the single truthful sentence you could speak today that would set your world on a more noble path, even if it terrifies you to say it?